So the previous video on this series ended on a really good note. The engine finally runs well, the car finally runs on its own power and on its own wheels, and it is out of the garage standing right here in front of you. But does that mean the problems are over with this car? Not at all. The problems are not over. In fact, in the previous video at the very end I showed you everything that is still wrong with this car, and that was just the half of it. As you can see, a lot more videos are pending on this car. So this was just the tip of the iceberg that we have crossed. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to fix the tiny things that are wrong with this car one by one and attempt to fix all of them, or at least most of the ones that I can fix. Starting with these fans. These fans run constantly. As soon as you turn the engine on, the fans just run on full power, which is not good. The engine is not able to pick up temperature, which is not good at all because it cannot have a run-in unless it's warm. And the reason is a sensor, which is supposed to be right here, but it isn't. And I have that along with a lot of things that I purchased for this car. Let me show you. So this is everything that I've got for the A6. These are mostly missing trim pieces like this, which goes right beneath the cowl. That is a chassis brace which goes above these struts, and all of these trims go around or above it. This is a junction box which was broken on the car, and a fuse was blown as well, and they had just wired it together, which is not safe at all. So I got a new junction box as well. The fuse box is broken on my car, so a new fuse box. The nozzle just not present, so I got the windshield washer nozzle. And these are some miscellaneous sensors like the air quality sensor, and this is a crash sensor which is missing on the car, and the ambient air temperature sensor which is missing on the car as well. And I think this is the reason the fans are constantly on. This entire wiring loom is just entirely missing on the car. So I got all of these out of a scrap A6 and I cut the loom so that I have the extended loom as well with me. And some miscellaneous connectors. This is for the steering rack. But most importantly, we have the condenser. Maybe the AC will work if the compressor is good, and this condenser was in such a good condition that I didn't even question purchasing a used one because this looks pretty much brand new. So I hope it's not dirty on the inside. And we have one missing pipe which I got along with it, so it's a good, I thought it was a good deal. Anyway, let's first wire this up so the fans can finally shut up and let the engine warm up. Let's do that. This is the harness I've got out of the scrapped A6, and this is the harness currently in the car. You can see if I compare the lengths, this ends right here in a million pieces, while this continues till further sensors. So I'm going to chop this right here and add this entirely new wiring harness. The only difference is the horns on this car seem to be one on that side and one on this side, while this harness is out of a car which had horns both on that side. So this wiring is something that I have to retain for the horns. Other than that, I'm going to replace it entirely. Let's begin. Now I've made all the connections, soldered them properly, added heat shrink to them. I have matched them with the color codes. So now let's just route this wiring properly. And one fault of this ambient air temperature should now go away. Let's see. I got the bracket with the sensor so that it looks entirely OEM and the car is entirely complete, and that is the reason I got the entire loom as well. I could have extended the wires, cut the sensors, but that wouldn't look good. So I got the bracket as well with its lock and the locking pin. So let's install it where it's supposed to go. And with that, the fans are not constantly running on full speed now. The ambient temp sensor is working. It is giving the temperature and the fans are happy. They're like, okay, I don't need to turn the fans on full speed. Alright then, one sensor fixed, on to the other one. The Casey antenna does not work, and I'm pretty sure it's just the wiring. So let's check that out. So the keyless entry system does not work right now because there is a fault of the antenna that is placed over here. And I see the wires are pretty worn out on it. So I am going to redo those wires and hopefully that fixes our issue. So this is the connector right here, which is already repaired. But what I'm going to do is replace this connector entirely because this is not a good repair. Maybe that is the reason it's not working. So this is the correct connector right here. This connector is broken and incorrectly crimped, which is on the car. So what I'm going to do is just twist the wires right now and see if the fault for the keyless entry goes away. I hope it does. Alright then, let's connect it and then we will scan and see if the fault has gone away. Alright, that seems to have fixed it. Keyless entry says no faults. So if I step out of the car, I should be able to lock it with just keyless. Let's see. And you can see I can turn on ignition easily. Now I don't need to put the key in the designated spot, so that's a good sign. Alright, let's test it now. Keyless entry is fixed as well. That's great. It works. Perfect. Now let's see, does it have it on all four corners? It has it on all four doors. Damn. That is so cool. Nice. It works. It works. Now let's just add solder and tape to it and seal it properly so that this does not happen again. Such poor work. I mean, all of this could have been avoided. Just do it correctly once. Next up, this headliner. It sags a lot. So the reason is it does not have these hooks in place. These are the hooks that go here and here. So they are missing. I brought them out of another A6. Let's put them in and hopefully the headliner will then stay in place and then we can clean it. It just needs a cleaning, I think. These are the locks and this is what spreads these locks open. And these often break on these cars while removing. So even this is broken. You can see it does not have the hook over it like this one does, this hook. It's missing here. So that is fine because later on we will get one which has the hook fixed. Right now we just need to fix the headliner. So let's put it in. And just like that, this is not sagging anymore. We can put this light back in. Let's clean it a little bit first because it is really dirty. So let's clean it and then install it. So some stains are really hard to remove because whoever touched this previously must have had oil residues on their hands or maybe the hands were just greasy. So a little trick is take a damp cloth, put a little bit of surf on it. Surf has enough grit that it cleans it really well. Don't go too aggressive because the grit can scratch it, but you can see this surface is entirely new now. I'll just work on the rest of it. And the reason we take a damp cloth is because this is all electronics under here. So we cannot put this entirely in water. So just take a damp cloth, some surf and just dry it out later. You can see this piece looks pretty much new now apart from these lenses. I'll see if I can get these separately to save some money. It cleaned up really well. I wasn't expecting all of the dirt to go away, all of those greasy hands to go away, but it looks really good. Let's install it. They have used a wrong bolt here. Maybe this is the reason it's not working. I should replace that. What They've used a 8 mm bolt and it was not even flush mount. The bolt, whatever bolt goes there should go inside, and that is the reason this was not fitting. Why? Let's use a correct bolt now. So out of the 3 bolts, this was the incorrect one. I have removed another one as reference. I will check if I have this and install it so that this can be installed correctly. So from the other ASICs, I have a few bolts left, and I will find if I have a bolt which matches this exactly. Hopefully I have it. It will solve the problem of the cabin light. So I do not have the correct bolt right now of this exact size and head. So what I'm going to do is, since they used this bolt, it fits in but it is too long and it has a washer stuck to it. I'm going to cut the washer, cut it to the correct length, and then later on go back to the scrapyard, steal this bolt out of the A6 which is being scrapped there, so that I have an original sunroof with original bolts. I don't have an original sunroof though, it'll just have original bolts. So I have the washer cut and removed. Now I'll just match this length. But first let's check if this goes all the way in there or not, and then we'll cut it. Okay, so this fits. Let's cut it to length. Perfect. Alright, that's tight. It is holding it on. Let's try to install this now. Perfect, look, it went in a lot smoother now and it's in. Great, the headliner is up. We can clean it a little bit. Now with this trim in place and looking good, I was able to recalibrate the sunroof as well. Earlier on there was a fault that the basic setting of the sunroof is not done. So all I needed to do was to hold the button all the way back till the sunroof went back and just hold it all the way to the front. Now hopefully that fault will be gone. Let's check it out. But this is enough proof, because earlier on when I used to push forward, it would go back. That meant that it just doesn't know where it is. Now it does, and it works. Even the tilt works. Great. We have a functioning sunroof. Something works on this car. Oh, it even goes back further. Nice. Let's check the fault. Now the fault was in comfort systems right here. The sunroof is not calibrated. That fault should now go away. Well, that fault is entirely gone. Otherwise it was a fault right here, but it's entirely gone, so that's good, it works. Now the next fault that we can work on, and it is pretty important as well, is this fuel gauge sensor to resistance too high. This is responsible in telling the dash how much fuel is left in the tank. Right now there is no indication, we just have no indication at all, so we don't know how much fuel is there. So let's remove that fuel pump and see what's wrong in there. Now this is our entire fuel sender unit. This has the fuel gauge center, this is the fuel pump right here, and obviously in like repeating fashion, this has been tinkered with. Wiring has been tampered here, they have done some repairs. This could very well be the reason that the poor wiring job is creating too much resistance. But still, let's take it out and see what exactly is wrong in there and redo this wiring as well, because I don't trust it. Since the system was slightly pressurized, some fuel came out. It's fine. This is entirely loose as well, which is not a good sign. I hope it's okay though. some more repairs have been done down here. But this could not be the reason for the fuel gauge center to be faulty. Is there a float? Yes, there is. There's one thing that I wish to do. If I just connect the fuel gauge sender like so, and I don't connect the pump, and I give it ignition, it should show an indication when I move the float in there. That is a little risky, but I wish to try it. And I'm wondering if I can remove this entirely. I think I can. Let's give it a try. Ignition on. Fuel is not pouring, that's a good sign. But it is not showing any amount of fuel either. I might just need to remove the entire pump then. Alright, let's do that. So with the fuel pump out, this right here is the connector for fuel gauge sender 2. Now where does that go? We have to dig around to find out. Let's look online where that goes to, because the fault is for fuel gauge sender 2. Let's do some research and I'll get back to you. The fuel gauge sender 2 is located beneath this. So I did not need to remove that pump, that's fine. Even this ring is loose, so let's remove it and see what mystery unfolds under here. Let's open this up as well. Now this is the fuel gauge sender 2. Now why must it say high resistance? Do we need to open it and check? I guess that's our only option. Now I guess we need to take this apart, and hopefully we have some bad contacts in there, which will, while after we clean them, this should fix it. That is our only hope. And I think this part must be common with the diesels as well. So probably I can get this part out of a diesel. It is a tiny part, shouldn't cost much. So if I cannot fix it, I will go to the scrapyard and pull this out on my own. Now this is how it sits inside of the fuel tank, and this is how it detects if there is any fuel and sends to the gauge cluster that hey, you have this much fuel or this much fuel, your tank is full. So let's take it apart and hope the contacts are bad. You know what? Someone has already been here. I see these broken joints. Someone else has either tried to repair it, maybe they've tried to do the same thing that I'm doing. I might just need a new one. But let's give it a shot. If we need a new one, then we'll get a new one. Alright, and it's out. I just have to be extra careful because all of this lives in petrol all of its life, so it can be really brittle. I can be wrong that someone has been here because locks are good here. If someone had been here looking at the rest of the car, they must have broken something. But everything seems in order over here. I hope I don't become the one who breaks things. This might not be as easy as I thought. I need a really thin pick. Otherwise I might break something. Now I'm just curious, what sort of resistance does this thing throw? I mean, it has 3 poles, but it cannot be a 3-pole resistor. So the resistance must be between black and ground. Okay. It was showing something. No? Are the contacts bad? Okay, now we have some resistance, 8.50. It is all over the place. The numbers, that should not be the case. It is weird. Alright. See? It is all over the place. So I have successfully opened it without breaking any locks, luckily. And this is the mechanism right here. This is the resistor or rheostat switch, something like that. And this is the contact of the float. Now this is pretty crusty, but it still has continuity. While none of these contacts have continuity, and you can see the amount of corrosion on it. So what I'm going to do is clean the corrosion, clean the contacts, and see if it ends up working. Hopefully it does. Let's clean it and hope that it works. Now I'm not going to go too aggressive with this because these pins have to spend their life in petrol. So if I remove the coating entirely, this will prematurely wear it. So this is just 2000 grit sandpaper. I'm going to sand away a bit of the contacts. And you can see the lines that it is forming, they're entirely green due to the carbon. I'm not sure if it's exactly carbon, but it is some sort of electronic deposit. I mean, a deposit which is caused due to electricity. Now this contact is the most burnt. Let's see if we can revive it. Now let's put these back in. I did take some photos before I opened this up entirely. So let's refer to them. Black goes on the outside, brown goes on the inside. Cool. Now let's see. The carbon right here, it doesn't matter. These two contacts should be good, that's all. Alright. Now it's pretty consistent. Look, I'll show you. At some range. Where was it? Look. Oh no. Yeah, see, it says 2.6. If I change it a little bit, like it is a lot more consistent than before. Like take a look at it. It says 25. Now I'll change the values. See, 24, 23. Now it'll go to 22, 21, 20. Okay, maybe this will work now. Maybe it will work. Because earlier on they were really sporadic, they were everywhere. But now it's pretty consistent. So the only way to know for sure is to put it back in the car. Let's do that. Now they've added tape here in hopes that it will do something, but this vinyl tape cannot stay put in petrol. This just won't work. What the correct fix should be is to deepen this, add heat shrink. So I will give it a shot, but even if there are tiny cuts like these, it barely matters in petrol because it is dipped in petrol all the time. Even if it sparks inside of petrol, like it is fully submerged, it's not gonna do anything because it's the vapors that catch fire, not petrol itself exactly. So I will attempt to fix it, but it barely matters. So this is the harness, which has multiple cuts in it. Can I deepen it? I can. So let's add heat shrink. Now I'm not even sure if heat shrink will stay put in the fuel tank, but let's try. I'm sure they've got till here, you know, because they tried to add tape. But if you are going to do anything, like if you're going to give it 1%, why not give it 100? Just You're already here. Just remove it and do the rest as well. Now, just to test our concept, we left this piece of heat shrink in the fuel tank of the Audi for the last 30 minutes and nothing happened to it. It didn't change its properties at all, like even barely, nothing happened. So it is still intact. So I'm pretty sure nothing will happen to it. If anything happens, I have to fix it in the future, so it's fine. So let's continue adding heat shrink to it. Alright, now it looks a little better than before. No amount of tape was gonna stay in the side there. Anyway, so let's put this all back together now. Alright, with this put together and connections made, let's see if our gauge center works now. Alright, moment of truth. Now it shows! It shows! Nice! Finally! That's all we had to do. Nice, I can't believe it works. Now let's see if the fault is gone. And it is! They're all green now. If I clear them, they won't come back. Perfect. That worked. Now our instrument cluster is clear. Great. Alright, now that the car knows how much fuel it has, the fuel trimming has got a little better and new set of faults have arrived. For example, the knock sensor for this bank 2, is faulty. It says range, performance, and I'm pretty sure what the problem is. The connector for it is entirely broken, so the pins are just connected like that. So step number 1 is to find a good connector for it. As for the other side of the engine, we have a fault that the fuel rail pressure is too low. Now that it has finally fuel and it knows how much fuel it has, it is being sensitive about it. And I see the problem already. The HPFP is leaking slightly. Good thing that we have two. So these are knock sensors. This is for bank 2 and this is for bank 1. Now what the car says is that bank 2 is underperforming because the connector on that is broken. Not this connector, but the connector that goes from the ECU on top of this. But the connector for this is just nowhere to be found, not even in the scrap wiring, not at the scrap yard. So what I'm going to do is figure out a way to get a 3-pin connector which will fit this, even if I have to chop this. So let's find it. So this is the connector that we actually need, but it is broken on the inside. So it's of no use. It should have a notch on the side, but this connector is just not available. So this is a 3-pin connector. This will fit if I cut this notch from the knock sensor. So I will do that. Alright, it fits, it locks, perfect. Now this was proof of concept. What we need to do is shave the knock sensor on the car as well. So let's cut this and put it in the car. So this is the knock sensor right here, and the wires for it are just glued in right now because, as I said, no connector. So let's remove it and put a proper connector in it. With the way this is glued in, this is locked in better than a connector. Okay, it was not the best decision to fill it with silicone. It's fine though. We are repairing it. Alright, with the silicone removed and the notch cut, let's put the connector to its wiring and see if that fixed anything. Alright, with this mostly sorted, let's tighten that bolt on the HPFP. Hope it doesn't leak. It is tight. I hope the flange is not leaking. The flange is tight, so let's clean it up a bit and monitor what exactly is leaking on it. Alright, the NOx sensor faults are now in green. So the circuit is fine. Let's clear all the faults and see if it runs any better. Alright, with that, a lot of the sensors are fixed, but it is still not idling properly. And I have my doubts on the HPFP because with this rough idle, people have changed their HPFPs and they started to idle right. They started to work really well. So what I will do is change the HPFP, but right now I am in a bit of a time crunch. I have to travel tomorrow. So this has been it for this video. Unfortunately, I have fixed a lot of things with this car and it is running a lot better than before. Earlier on, it would have a problem starting up. At least that is not present now. And a lot of the faults have cleared and I have a lot more parts waiting for this car. So stay tuned for the next video on this because it will be a lot more put together than this. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.